Dr. Jacob Martinez was looking at blood samples under his microscope when the emergency alarm started screaming through the ship. He looked up from his work, confused. The Meridian had been traveling through safe space for 3 weeks now. Nothing dangerous should be out here. The alarm kept going. Red lights flashed on the walls of his small medical lab. Jacob put down his tools and walked to the door. The hallway was full of people running to their stations. Something big was happening. All senior staff to the bridge right now. Captain Lisa Morgan's voice came through the speakers. She sounded worried. Jacob ran through the corridors of the ship. The Meridian was not a big vessel, but it was home to 200 people. Most of them were diplomats and scientists. They were not used to emergency situations like this. He reached the bridge in 2 minutes. Captain Morgan was standing at the main screen, looking at something that made her face very serious. Commander Pete Johnson stood next to her, holding a datapad in his shaking hands. "Jacob, thank God you are here," Captain Morgan said when she saw him. "We just got a message that changes everything." "What kind of message?" Jacob asked. He was still catching his breath from running. "Look at this." She pointed to the main screen. The screen showed the face of an alien. Jacob had seen pictures of Kalians before, but never a real one talking. The creature was tall and thin, with skin that looked like it was made of blue metal. Its eyes were huge and had many parts like the eyes of an insect. When it spoke, its voice sounded like music, but sad music. "People of Earth," the alien said, in perfect English. "I am High Chancellor Vexthu of the Kalian Empire. We have never asked for help from your kind before. We have never wanted help from any other people, but now we must ask." Jacob watched the alien's face change colors as it talked. He knew this happened when Kalians felt strong emotions. "Our great Queen Nithara is dying," the alien continued. "She has been sick for many days. Our best healers cannot help her. We have tried everything we know. Nothing works. She gets worse every day." The alien stopped talking for a moment. Its skin turned a darker blue. "We know your people are good at medicine. We know you have saved lives that others could not save. We are asking you to come to our world. We are asking you to try to save our queen. If she dies, our empire will fall apart. Millions will suffer." The message ended. The bridge was very quiet. "When did this come in?" Jacob asked. 20 minutes ago, Commander Johnson said. "We have been trying to figure out what to do." Jacob sat down in a chair. His mind was working fast. The Kalians were one of the most powerful alien races in the galaxy. They controlled 30 star systems and had ships that could destroy planets. But they hated outsiders. They never talked to other species unless they had to. "Have they ever asked for help before?" Jacob asked. "Never," Captain Morgan said. "In 5 years since first contact, they have barely spoken to us. They think they are better than everyone else. For them to ask for help means they are really desperate." Jacob thought about what he knew about Kalian medicine. It was very advanced in some ways, but they did not understand biology the same way humans did. They used energy and crystals to heal people. Human doctors used chemistry and surgery. "What do we know about the Queen's sickness?" he asked. Commander Johnson looked at his datapad. "Not much. They sent some basic information. She fell into a coma 18 days ago. Her brain activity is getting weaker. They think it might be some kind of plague that attacks the nervous system." "A neural plague," Jacob said slowly. "I have seen things like that before. Sometimes they are not really plagues at all. Sometimes they are poisoning that looks like a disease." Captain Morgan turned to look at him. "Do you think you could help her?" "Maybe," Jacob said. "But there is a big problem. Kalians do not like being touched by outsiders. Their whole society is built around not touching people who are not family. If I have to examine the Queen, I might have to touch her. That could cause a war." "But if we do nothing, she dies anyway," Captain Morgan said. "And if their queen dies, their empire might attack everyone around them. They might blame us for not helping." Jacob knew she was right. The Kalians were proud and angry. If their queen died and they thought other people could have saved her, they might start fighting everyone. "There is something else," Commander Johnson said. The message was sent to 12 different human ships. We are the closest to their space, but we are not the biggest ship, and we do not have the most important people on board. Why do you think they asked us? Jacob wondered. Because you are here, Captain Morgan said. Jacob, you are the best xenobiologist in this part of space. You have studied alien diseases more than anyone. You saved those Centauri colonists last year when their own doctors gave up. Jacob remembered that case. The Centauri people had gotten sick from eating plants on their new world. Their doctors thought it was a virus. But Jacob figured out the plants were making a poison that built up in their bodies over time. Once he knew what was really wrong, the cure was easy. This could be the same kind of thing, he said. The Kalians might be treating the wrong problem. Dr. Amanda Foster came onto the bridge. She was Jacob's partner in the medical department. Her face was red from running. I heard the alarm, she said. What is happening? Captain Morgan explained the situation. Amanda listened with her eyes getting bigger. Jacob, you cannot be thinking about this, she said when the captain finished. The Kalians kill people for touching their leaders without permission. Even their own people get executed for that. What do you think they will do to a human? But if I do not try, she dies, Jacob said. I became a doctor to save lives. It does not matter what species they are. It matters if you get killed trying, Amanda said. Then you cannot save anyone else ever again. Captain Morgan looked at both doctors. I need to make a decision fast. If we are going to help, we need to leave for Kalian space right now. It will take us 4 days to get to their homeworld. The Queen might not have that much time. Jacob stood up. He walked to the big window that showed the stars outside. Somewhere out there, a dying queen was waiting for help. Her people were watching her get weaker every day. They had swallowed their pride and asked their enemies for help. That took courage. I have to try, he said finally. If there is a chance I can save her, I have to take it. Amanda put her hand on his shoulder. Then I am coming with you. You will need help, and you will need someone to watch your back. Captain Morgan nodded. All right, we are going to Kalian space. Everyone prepare for departure. This mission could change everything between humans and Kalians. Let us hope it changes things for the better. As the Meridian turned toward Kalian space, Jacob went back to his lab to prepare. He gathered his medical equipment and started reading everything he could find about Kalian biology. He had 4 days to learn how to save the life of an alien queen. 4 days to prevent a war. 4 days to do something that had never been done before. The stars outside looked the same as always, but Jacob knew that everything was about to change. 4 days later, the Meridian came out of faster-than-light travel near the Kalian homeworld. Jacob looked out the window of his quarters and saw Veltar for the first time. The planet was beautiful and strange. It looked like a giant purple marble with silver clouds swirling around it. Dr. Martinez, please come to the bridge. Captain Morgan's voice came through the speaker in his room. Jacob grabbed his medical bag and walked quickly through the ship's hallways. Everyone on board was nervous. They were the first humans to visit the Kalian homeworld. No one knew what would happen. On the bridge, Jacob saw something that made him stop walking. 3 enormous Kalian warships surrounded the Meridian. Each ship was 10 times bigger than their vessel. The ships looked like they were made of crystal and metal twisted together. They were beautiful, but also very scary. They sent us an escort, Captain Morgan said. I think they want to make sure we do not cause any trouble. Or they want to make sure we cannot run away, Commander Johnson added quietly. A voice came through the ship's communication system. It was the same musical sound that Jacob had heard in the message 4 days ago. Human vessel Meridian, this is Battle Commander Zareth of the Imperial Guard. You will follow our ships to the orbital station above our capital city. You will not change course. You will not scan our planet. You will do exactly as we tell you. Understood, Captain Morgan replied. We are here to help your queen. That remains to be seen, the alien voice said. Follow us now. The 3 warships moved toward the planet. The Meridian followed them, looking very small between the giant alien vessels. As they got closer to Veltar, Jacob could see the orbital station. It was huge, like a city floating in space. Thousands of lights covered its surface. "Look at that," Dr. Amanda Foster said, standing next to Jacob. "They built that whole thing in orbit. It must hold 1 million people. Maybe more," Jacob said. He was thinking about how advanced the Kalians were. Their technology was very different from human technology, but it was just as good, maybe better. The Meridian docked at the station. Jacob could feel the artificial gravity change as they connected to the alien structure. Captain Morgan chose a small team to go down to the planet. Jacob and Amanda would go as the medical team. Ambassador Richard Hayes would handle the diplomatic talks. Commander Johnson and 4 security officers would come to protect them. They put on their dress, uniforms, and walked to the docking area. Jacob carried his medical equipment in a special case. He had spent the last 4 days studying everything about Kalian biology, but he knew there was still a lot he did not understand. The airlock opened, and they stepped into the Kalian station. Jacob's first thought was how tall everything was. The ceilings were 15 feet high. The doorways were made for people much taller than humans. 6 Kalian guards were waiting for them. Jacob had never seen aliens this big in person. They were almost 8 feet tall and very thin. Their arms and legs were longer than human arms and legs. Their skin was blue-green and seemed to shine with its own light. The guards wore armor that looked like it was made of living metal. It moved and changed shape as they walked. Each guard carried a weapon that Jacob did not recognize. The weapons glowed with purple energy. "You are the humans," one of the guards said. Its voice was like singing, but not happy singing. "I am Guard Captain Mordun. You will come with us. You will not touch anything. You will not speak unless we ask you to speak." "We understand," Ambassador Hayes said. "We are here to help your queen." Guard Captain Mordun looked at Hayes for a long moment. Its skin changed from blue-green to darker blue. Jacob remembered that this meant the alien was feeling strong emotions. "Many of our people do not want you here," the guard said. "They think humans are dirty and dangerous. They think letting you near our queen is wrong. I am one of these people." "Then, why are we here?" Hayes asked. "Because our queen is dying," Morden replied. "And sometimes when someone is dying, you must do things you do not want to do." The guards led them through the station to a transport ship. This vessel was smaller than the warships, but still much bigger than anything humans usually built. The inside was beautiful. The walls seemed to be made of crystal that glowed with soft light. During the trip down to the planet, Jacob looked out the windows at the Kalian capital city. Sorthene was unlike any city he had ever seen. The buildings were tall and thin, like glass needles reaching up to the sky. They were connected by bridges that looked like they were made of light itself. "How do those buildings stay up?" Amanda whispered to Jacob. "I think they use some kind of energy field," Jacob whispered back. "Their whole technology is based on energy manipulation." Guard Captain Morden heard them talking. "Silence," it said. "You will have time to ask questions later." The transport landed at the Royal Palace. Jacob stepped out and looked up at the building. It was the biggest structure he had ever seen. It rose so high that the top disappeared into the purple clouds above the city. More guards met them at the entrance. These guards were even bigger than the ones on the station. Their armor was gold instead of silver, and their weapons were bigger too. "The High Chancellor is waiting," one of the new guards said. They walked through corridors that seemed to go on forever. The walls were covered with pictures and symbols that Jacob could not understand. Everything was made for people much taller than humans. Jacob felt very small. Finally, they reached a huge room with a ceiling so high that Jacob could barely see. The room was full of Kalians in fancy clothes. These were not guards or soldiers. These were the nobles of the Kalian court. All of them stared at the humans as they walked into the room. Jacob could see their skin changing colors as they looked at the visitors. Most of them turned darker blue or purple. Jacob knew this meant they were angry or afraid. At the far end of the room, on a platform raised above the floor, stood the most impressive Kalian Jacob had ever seen. This one was even taller than the guards. Its skin was silver instead of blue-green, and it wore robes that seemed to be made of liquid light. "I am High Chancellor Vexthu," the alien said, as the humans approached. "I sent the message asking for your help." Ambassador Hayes stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Richard Hayes. This is Dr. Jacob Martinez and Dr. Amanda Foster. They are our best medical experts." High Chancellor Vexthu looked down at Jacob. Its eyes were huge and had hundreds of small parts like the eyes of an insect. When it looked at him, Jacob felt like the alien could see into his thoughts. "You are very small," the Chancellor said, "and you look very weak. Are you sure you can help our queen?" "I will do everything I can," Jacob replied, "but I need to know more about her condition." The Chancellor made a gesture with its long arm. Another Kalian came forward. This one wore different clothes than the nobles. Its robes were white and covered with symbols that glowed softly. "This is Master Healer Quindal," the Chancellor said. "He has been trying to save our queen for 18 days. He will tell you what he knows." Master Healer Quindal looked at Jacob with obvious dislike. When it spoke, its voice was cold and unfriendly. "The queen fell sick suddenly," the healer said. "She was fine in the morning. By evening, she could not wake up. Her mind is still there, but her body does not respond. We have tried every treatment we know. Nothing works." "What treatments have you tried?" Jacob asked. The Master Healer's skin turned red. This was a color Jacob had not seen before. He wondered what emotion it meant. "We have used energy healing," Quindal said. "We have used crystal therapy. We have used mind linking with our most powerful telepaths. We have tried everything that works for our people." "But you have not tried human medicine," Jacob said. "Human medicine is primitive," the Master Healer replied. "You cut bodies open like animals. You use crude chemicals. Our methods are much more advanced." Jacob could see this was going to be a problem. The Kalian healers thought their medicine was better than human medicine. They would not want to listen to his ideas. "Can I see the medical data?" Jacob asked. Master Healer Quindal looked at High Chancellor Vexthu. The Chancellor nodded slowly. "Show him," the Chancellor said. "But remember, human, our queen is sacred. She has never been touched by someone from outside our royal family. She has never been seen by an outsider. What we are allowing is against every law and custom of our people." "I understand," Jacob said. "I will be very respectful." "You will be more than respectful," the Chancellor replied. "You will follow our rules exactly. You will wear ceremonial gloves at all times. You will stay at least 6 feet away from the Queen. You will not touch anything in her chamber without permission." Jacob nodded. But inside, he was worried. How could he examine a patient properly if he could not get close to her? How could he diagnose her condition if he could not touch her? Master Healer Quindal brought out a device that projected images in the air. Jacob could see brain scans of the Queen. The images showed that her neural activity was very low and getting lower every day. "This looks like neural poisoning," Jacob said after studying the scans. "Something is blocking the signals in her brain." "Impossible," Master Healer Quindal said. "We tested for every poison we know. There is nothing." "Maybe it is not a poison you know about," Jacob replied. "Maybe it is something that only affects Kalian biology in a specific way." The guards led Jacob through more corridors that seemed to go on forever. The walls here were different from the rest of the palace. They glowed with a soft white light that made everything look peaceful. Jacob could hear something like music coming from the walls themselves. "These are the sacred halls," Master Healer Quindal said as they walked. "Only the royal family and their healers are allowed here. You are the first outsider to walk these paths." Jacob felt the weight of that responsibility. Every step he took was breaking thousands of years of tradition. The Kalian nobles following behind them whispered to each other in their musical language. He could not understand the words, but their tone sounded angry. They stopped at a large door made of something that looked like living crystal. Symbols moved across its surface like water flowing uphill. High Chancellor Vexthu placed his hand on the door and it slowly opened. "Before you enter," the Chancellor said, "you must put these on." A guard brought Jacob a pair of gloves. They were not like any gloves he had ever seen. They seemed to be made of the same material as the door, and they felt warm in his hands. "These are ceremonial gloves," Master Healer Quindal explained. "They will prevent your skin from touching anything sacred. You must wear them at all times in the Queen's presence." Jacob put on the gloves. They felt strange, like they were alive. The material was thin, but he could feel that it would block his sense of touch completely. This was going to make examining the Queen very difficult. "Remember," High Chancellor Vexthu said, "you must stay at least 6 feet away from her at all times. You may use your instruments to scan her, but you may not touch her or her bed or anything in the room. 6 guards will watch you every second. If you break these rules, they will kill you immediately." Jacob nodded. He understood the rules even if he did not like them. They entered the Queen's chamber. Jacob stopped walking and stared. The room was the most beautiful place he had ever seen. The ceiling was like looking up at the night sky, with stars that moved slowly in patterns. The walls seemed to be made of water that flowed upward instead of down. In the center of the room was a platform that floated 3 feet above the floor. On the platform lay Queen Nithara. Jacob had seen pictures of Kalian nobles, but the Queen was different from all of them. She was taller and more graceful. Her skin was usually silver like the High Chancellor's, but now it was a pale gray color that looked very sick. Her eyes were closed and she did not move at all. The most amazing thing about her was the crown on her head. It was not made of metal or jewels. It was alive. Jacob could see it breathing slowly, and lights moved through it like blood through veins. This was the neural crown that all Kalian rulers wore. It was supposed to make them smarter and give them special mental powers. But now the crown looked sick too. Its lights were dim and flickering. Sometimes they would get brighter for a few seconds, then go dim again. "How long has the crown been like that?" Jacob asked. "Since the day she fell sick," Master Healer Quindal replied. "We think the crown is dying because the Queen is dying." Jacob set up his medical equipment around the platform. The guards watched his every move. He could feel their eyes on him like weight pressing down on his shoulders. He turned on his scanner and pointed it at the Queen. The device could see inside her body without touching her. What he saw made him frown. The Queen's brain activity was very low, just like the scans had shown. But there was something else. Her nervous system was fighting against something. It looked like her own body was attacking her brain. "This is not a disease," Jacob said after studying the readings for several minutes. "What do you mean?" Master Healer Quindal asked. His skin turned red again. "I mean, this is not something that came from outside her body," Jacob explained. "This is something inside her that is causing the problem. Her nervous system is reacting to something, like it is trying to fight off poison. We tested for every poison known to our people," the Master Healer said angrily. "There is no poison." "Maybe not a poison that you know about," Jacob said, "but something is definitely causing her body to attack itself." Jacob walked around the platform, staying exactly 6 feet away as he had been told. He scanned the Queen from different angles. The readings all showed the same thing. Her brain was slowly shutting down because something was making her nervous system work against itself. Then Jacob noticed something interesting. The neural crown on her head was not just dim, it was pulsing in a strange pattern. Every time it pulsed, the Queen's brain activity got a little weaker. "When did the Queen last have work done on her crown?" Jacob asked. The question made everyone in the room very quiet. High Chancellor Vexthu and Master Healer Quindal looked at each other. "Why, do you ask that?" the Chancellor said. "Because I think the crown might be causing the problem," Jacob replied. Master Healer Quindal's skin turned bright red. "Impossible. The neural crown is sacred. It has been worn by Kalian rulers for 1,000 years. It cannot cause harm." "But has it been changed recently?" Jacob pressed. "Has anyone done anything to improve it or make it stronger?" The silence in the room told Jacob he was right. Someone had modified the crown, and they did not want to admit it. Finally, High Chancellor Vexthu spoke. 3 weeks ago, our best technicians enhanced the Crown's power. They added new neural pathways to make the Queen's telepathic abilities stronger. It was supposed to help her lead our people better. And she got sick 1 week after that? Jacob asked. Yes, the Chancellor admitted. Jacob studied his scanner readings again. Now everything made sense. The enhancement to the Crown was creating chemicals that the Queen's brain could not handle. Her nervous system was trying to protect itself by shutting down, but that was killing her. The enhancement is poisoning her, Jacob said. The new neural pathways are making substances that are toxic to her brain. Every day, more poison builds up in her system. That is why she keeps getting worse. Master Healer Quindal stepped forward, angrily. You know nothing about our technology. The Crown has been tested for safety. Tested on who? Jacob asked. Has anyone ever worn an enhanced crown before? The Master Healer stopped talking. Jacob could see the answer in his expression. She is the first one to try it, is she not? Jacob continued. You enhanced the crown and put it on her without knowing what would happen. We needed to make her stronger, High Chancellor Vexthu said defensively. Our empire faces many threats. A more powerful queen could protect our people better, but instead you are killing her, Jacob said. The guards in the room raised their weapons. Jacob realized he had said something that made them very angry. Be careful, human, the Chancellor warned. You are accusing us of trying to harm our own queen. I am not accusing you of trying to harm her, Jacob said quickly. I am saying that your attempt to help her is harming her instead. Sometimes when we try to make things better, we accidentally make them worse. Jacob looked at his scanner again. The Queen's condition was getting worse even as they stood there talking. They did not have much time. I need to map the exact neural pathways that are being affected, Jacob said. I need to see exactly how the Crown is interacting with her brain. You can do that with your scanners, Master Healer Quindal said. No, I cannot, Jacob replied. The scanners can show me what is happening, but they cannot show me how to fix it. For that, I need to make direct contact with her neural crown. The room became completely silent. Even the musical sound from the walls seemed to stop. Direct contact? High Chancellor Vexthu said slowly. I need to touch the crown while it is active, Jacob explained. I need to feel how it is working so I can understand how to make it stop poisoning her. Absolutely not, Master Healer Quindal said. No outsider has ever touched a neural crown. It would be the greatest blasphemy in our history. And I would need to remove my gloves to do it properly, Jacob added. This made the guards point their weapons directly at him. Jacob could see energy building up in the barrels of their guns. You want to touch our sacred queen with your bare hands? One of the guards said. I want to save her life, Jacob replied. But I cannot do it from 6 feet away while wearing gloves. I need to make direct contact with her neural crown to understand how it works. High Chancellor Vexthu walked to the edge of the platform. He looked down at the dying queen, then back at Jacob. If you touch her and she dies, we will execute you slowly and painfully, the Chancellor said. If you touch her and she lives, you will have done something that breaks every law of our society. Either way, you will have problems. Jacob looked at the queen lying so still on her floating platform. Her breathing was getting weaker. The lights in her crown were flickering more slowly. She was running out of time. If I do nothing, she dies anyway, Jacob said. At least if I try, there is a chance to save her. He looked around the room at all the Kalians watching him. Their skin was showing every color he had seen, and some he had not seen before. They were afraid, angry, hopeful, and desperate all at the same time. I need your permission, Jacob said to High Chancellor Vexthu. I cannot do this if you do not allow it. The Chancellor stared at Jacob for a long time. Then he looked at Master Healer Quindal. What do our healers say? Can our methods still save her? Master Healer Quindal's skin turned a pale blue. Jacob's hand moved slowly toward the Queen's neural crown. The room was so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat. Every Kalian in the chamber was watching him. Some had turned away because they could not bear to see what they thought was the worst crime possible. The guards had their weapons pointed right at Jacob's head. He knew that if anything went wrong, they would kill him instantly. But the queen was dying, and this might be her only chance. His fingers were now just inches away from the crown. Jacob could feel energy coming from it, like heat from a fire. The crown was alive, and it was in pain just like the queen. "Stop," Master Healer Quindal said suddenly. "I cannot let you do this. It is against everything we believe." Jacob paused. His hand was so close to the crown that he could almost touch it. "She is dying," Jacob said without looking away from the queen. "In a few hours she will be dead. Do your beliefs matter more than her life?" "Our beliefs are our life," the Master Healer replied. "Without them, we are nothing." High Chancellor Vexthu raised his hand. "Quindal, be quiet. The decision is made." Jacob took a deep breath and reached out the last few inches. The moment his skin touched the neural crown, everything changed. The crown felt warm and alive under his fingers. But more than that, Jacob could suddenly feel the queen's thoughts. Her mind reached out to his like a drowning person reaching for help. He could feel her pain. The enhanced crown was sending waves of toxic energy through her brain every few seconds. Each wave was like being struck by lightning. She had been suffering like this for 18 days. But Jacob could also feel her strength. Even while dying, Queen Nithera was fighting to stay alive. She was trying to protect her people by staying conscious as long as possible. She knew that if she died, the Kalian Empire might fall apart. Through their mental connection, Jacob felt the queen's surprise. When she realized he was human, she had expected another Kalian healer. Instead, she found a strange alien mind trying to help her. "Who are you?" her thoughts whispered in his mind. "I am Dr. Jacob Martinez," he thought back to her. "I am here to help you." A human, she thought. They let a human touch me. They must be very desperate. "Yes, they are," Jacob replied through their mental link. "And so am I. I want to save your life." The queen's thoughts grew stronger for a moment. "Show me what you see. Show me what is wrong with me." Jacob focused on what his medical training told him about her condition. Through their connection, he showed her how the enhanced crown was creating toxic chemicals in her brain. He showed her how these chemicals were making her nervous system attack itself. "I understand now," the queen thought. "The enhancement was supposed to make me more powerful. Instead, it is killing me slowly. Can you help me map the neural pathways?" Jacob asked through their mental connection. "I need to know exactly which parts of the crown are causing the problem." Working together, Jacob and Queen Nithara explored her brain through the neural crown. It was like walking through a living map of her thoughts and memories. Jacob could see the normal pathways that had always been there, and he could see the new ones that had been added 3 weeks ago. The new pathways were like roads that led nowhere. They created energy that had no place to go, so it built up and became poison. The enhancement had made the queen more powerful, but her brain could not handle the extra power. "I can fix this," Jacob told her through their mental connection. "But I need your help. I need you to guide me to the right places." "How?" she asked. "We need to redirect the energy from the new pathways," Jacob explained. "Instead of letting it build up as poison, we need to give it somewhere safe to go." Working. Together through their mental link, Jacob and the queen began to trace the toxic pathways. It was slow, careful work. One mistake could kill her instantly. Outside their mental connection, Jacob was dimly aware of the Kalians watching him. He had been touching the crown for several minutes now. Some of the nobles were crying. Others looked angry. All of them knew they were watching something that had never happened before. "Dr. Martinez," High Chancellor Vexthu said, "What is happening? You have been standing there without moving for 5 minutes." Jacob could not answer out loud without breaking his concentration, but Queen Nithera could speak through the crown's communication system. "He is helping me." The queen's voice came from speakers around the room. It was the first time she had spoken in 18 days. "The human doctor is showing me what is wrong with my mind." The room erupted in shocked whispers. Master Healer Quindal stepped forward. "Your Majesty, you are awake." "I am more than awake," the Queen replied through the speakers. "For the first time in weeks I can think clearly. Dr. Martinez has shown me that the crown enhancement is poisoning me. He is teaching me how to fix it." "Is this true?" the Chancellor asked. Through their mental connection, Jacob felt the Queen's amusement. "Should I tell them, or should you?" "You tell them," Jacob thought back. "They will believe you more than they will believe me." The Queen's voice came through the speakers again. "The human is correct. The enhancement you added to my crown is creating toxic energy. It builds up in my brain and makes my body attack itself. That is why I have been dying." Master Healer Quindal's skin turned pale, but we tested the enhancement. It was supposed to be safe. "You tested it on machines," the Queen said. "You did not test it on a living mind. There is a difference." Jacob continued working through the neural pathways with the Queen's help. Together they found the source of the problem. The enhancement had created 3 new pathways that were supposed to increase her telepathic power. But these pathways ended in dead loops that trapped energy instead of using it. "We need to connect these pathways to your natural neural network," Jacob explained through their mental connection. "That will give the energy somewhere to go instead of letting it build up as poison." "How do we do that?" the Queen asked. "Very carefully," Jacob replied. "We need to build new connections one at a time. If we do it wrong, it could damage your mind permanently." Working together, Jacob and Queen Nithara began to carefully rebuild the neural pathways in her crown. It was like performing surgery with thoughts instead of tools. Jacob used his knowledge of human neurology, while the Queen used her understanding of how Kalian minds worked. The process took hours. Jacob lost track of time as he concentrated on the delicate work. His hand never moved from the crown, and he barely noticed the Kalians watching him. Slowly, the toxic energy in the Queen's brain began to drain away. The new pathways started working properly, carrying energy where it needed to go instead of letting it build up as poison. As they worked, Jacob learned more about Queen Nithara through their mental connection. She was not just a ruler. She was a person who cared deeply about her people. She had agreed to the crown enhancement because she wanted to be a better leader, even though she knew it was dangerous. "You risked your life to help your people," Jacob thought to her. "Just as you are risking your life to help me," she replied. "Perhaps humans and Kalians are not so different after all." Finally, after what felt like forever, the work was done. The toxic pathways had been redirected. The poison was gone from the Queen's system. Her brain activity began to return to normal levels. Jacob felt the Queen's strength returning through their mental connection. Her thoughts became clearer and stronger. The neural crown began to glow with healthy light instead of the sick flickering it had shown before. "It is working," the Queen said through the speakers. Her voice sounded stronger too. "The poison is gone. I can feel my mind healing." Jacob slowly removed his hand from the crown. The moment their physical connection was broken, he stumbled backward. The mental link had taken a lot of energy from him. He felt dizzy and tired. Master Healer Quindal caught him before he could fall. For a moment, the Kalian healer forgot that he was not supposed to touch the human. Then he realized what he had done and quickly let go. "Thank you," Jacob said. The Master Healer looked embarrassed. "You saved our Queen's life. It is I who should thank you." On the platform, Queen Nithara was sitting up for the first time in 18 days. Her skin was returning to its healthy silver color. The neural crown on her head was glowing brightly with normal patterns of light. She looked directly at Jacob, with her large, multifaceted eyes. When she spoke, her voice came from her own mouth instead of the speaker's. "Dr. Jacob Martinez," she said, "you have done something that no one in our history has ever done. You have touched a Kalian ruler and lived. More than that, you have saved my life." Jacob was too tired to stand up straight, but he managed to bow slightly. "I am glad I could help, Your Majesty." The Queen stood up on her platform. She was even taller than Jacob had expected, nearly 9 feet in height. When she moved, she was graceful like a dancer. What you have done changes everything, she said. Not just for me, but for both our peoples. Around the room, the Kalian nobles watched in amazement as their queen walked to the edge of her platform. She was not just alive. She was healthier and stronger than she had been before getting sick. Jacob realized that everything was about to change. The moment he had touched the alien queen had created a bond between them that would affect both their species forever. But first, he needed to sit down before he collapsed from exhaustion. Jacob sat on the floor of the queen's chamber, trying to catch his breath. The mental connection with Queen Nithera had used more energy than he expected. His head was spinning, and his hands were shaking. Dr. Amanda Foster rushed to his side with her medical scanner. "Jacob, are you okay? Your heart rate is very high." "I am fine," Jacob said, though he did not feel fine. "Just tired. That was harder than I thought it would be." On her platform, Queen Nithara was moving around and testing her strength. Her skin was now a bright, healthy silver color. The neural crown on her head glowed with steady, strong light. She looked like a completely different person from the dying queen Jacob had found just hours ago. "How do you feel, Your Majesty?" High Chancellor Vexthu asked. His skin was showing colors that Jacob had never seen before. The Chancellor was experiencing emotions that did not have names. "I feel better than I have felt in years," the Queen replied. "Not just better than when I was sick, better than before I was sick. The crown is working properly now. I can think more clearly than ever before." She stepped down from her platform and walked across the room. Every step was graceful and strong. The Kalian nobles watched her with amazement. Many of them were crying tears of joy. "The enhancement was not completely wrong," Queen Nithara continued. "It did make me more powerful. The problem was that the new pathways were not connected properly. Dr. Martinez showed me how to fix that." Master Healer Quindal approached the Queen carefully. "Your Majesty, may I scan you to check your condition?" "Of course," the Queen said, "but I think you will find that I am perfectly healthy." The Master Healer used his scanning device on the Queen. His eyes grew wide as he read the results. "Impossible," he whispered. "Your neural activity is not just normal. It is stronger than normal. The enhancement is working exactly as we hoped it would. Because a human doctor fixed what we could not," the Queen said. She turned to look at Jacob, who was still sitting on the floor. "Dr. Martinez, please stand up. I want to thank you properly." Jacob used Amanda's help to get back on his feet. He still felt dizzy, but he could stand. Queen Nithara walked over to him. She was so tall that Jacob had to look up to see her face. Her large eyes studied him carefully. "You saved my life," she said. "But you did more than that. You showed me something I never expected to learn." "What is that, Your Majesty?" Jacob asked. "You showed me that two minds can work together even if they are from different species," the Queen replied. "When we were connected through the crown, I could feel your thoughts. You were not trying to control me or hurt me. You genuinely wanted to help me. That is not something I expected from an outsider." Around the room, the Kalian nobles were listening to every word. Jacob could see their skin changing colors as they processed what their queen was saying. "Your Majesty," High Chancellor Vexthu said carefully, "what Dr. Martinez did was against all our laws. He touched you without permission. He contaminated your sacred person with his alien presence." Queen Nithara turned to face the Chancellor. When she spoke, her voice was firm and strong. "Chancellor Vexthu, our laws exist to protect us, but sometimes protection becomes a prison. Dr. Martinez broke our laws to save my life. He risked his own life to help a person he had never met before." She walked back to the center of the room so everyone could see her clearly. "I have been connected to his mind," the Queen continued. "I have felt his thoughts and emotions. This human doctor is not our enemy. He is someone who believes that all life is sacred, no matter what species it comes from." "But Your Majesty," Master Healer Quindal said, "if we allow one outsider to touch you, others will think they can do the same. Our traditions will be destroyed." Queen Nithara smiled. It was the first time Jacob had seen a Kalian smile, and it was beautiful. Our traditions will not be destroyed, she said. They will grow and change, just as I have grown and changed. Dr. Martinez has shown me that some rules are meant to be broken when breaking them saves lives. The Queen walked over to Jacob again. She reached up and began to remove her own ceremonial gloves. Every Kalian in the room gasped in shock. Your Majesty, what are you doing? Chancellor Vexthu asked. I am doing something that no Kalian ruler has ever done before, the Queen replied. She pulled off her gloves and held them in her hands. I am choosing to touch an outsider. She reached out her bare hand toward Jacob. He stared at it for a moment, not sure what to do. It is okay, the Queen said softly. I want to do this. You saved my life. The least I can do is shake your hand like humans do. Jacob slowly reached out his own hand. When their skin touched, every Kalian in the room made a sound like a gasp and a cry at the same time. But nothing bad happened. The Queen did not die or become contaminated. Instead, she smiled again and shook Jacob's hand firmly. There, she said, it is done. I have touched an outsider of my own free will, and the world has not ended. She turned to face her subjects. Let this moment be remembered. Let it be remembered that Queen Nithara chose to touch the human doctor who saved her life. Let it be remembered that sometimes the greatest courage is shown by breaking old rules to make new ones. High Chancellor Vexthu stared at the Queen for a long moment. Jacob could see that the Chancellor was struggling with what he had witnessed. Finally, the alien leader spoke. Your Majesty, if you believe this is right, then we will follow your example. The Chancellor walked over to Jacob. Slowly, carefully, he removed his own ceremonial gloves. Then he held out his hand to Jacob. Dr. Martinez, the Chancellor said, I thank you for saving our Queen. Jacob shook the Chancellor's hand. The alien's skin felt warm and slightly rough, like touching leather that had been left in the sun. One by one, the other nobles in the room began removing their gloves. They formed a line to shake Jacob's hand and thank him for saving their Queen. Some of them were crying, others were laughing. All of them were experiencing something they had never experienced before. Master Healer Quindal was the last one in line. When he reached Jacob, he paused for a moment. Dr. Martinez, the healer said, I owe you an apology. I thought human medicine was primitive. I was wrong. You understood something about healing that I did not understand. We can learn from each other, Jacob replied as he shook the healer's hand. Human medicine and Kalian healing both have strengths. Together, we might be able to help more people than either of us could help alone. Queen Nithara clapped her hands together. The sound echoed through the chamber like music. That is exactly what I want, she said. Dr. Martinez, I would like to invite you to stay on our world as my personal medical advisor. You can teach our healers about human medicine, and they can teach you about our healing methods. Jacob looked at Amanda, then at Ambassador Hayes. They both nodded encouragingly. I would be honored, Your Majesty, Jacob said. Excellent, the Queen replied. But first there is something else I want to do. She walked back to her platform and picked up a communication device. When she spoke into it, her voice was broadcast throughout the entire planet. My people, Queen Nithara said, I speak to you now as your queen, healthy and strong once again. I was saved not by our own healers, but by a human doctor who risked everything to help me. Jacob could hear crowds cheering through the communication system. The news was spreading across the planet that their queen was alive and well. Today marks the beginning of a new era, the Queen continued. Today we learned that friendship and healing know no boundaries between species. Today we learned that sometimes the greatest strength comes from admitting we need help. She put down the communication device and turned back to Jacob. Dr. Martinez, you came here to save one life. Instead, you may have saved 2 entire civilizations from a future of war and hatred. Jacob thought about the journey that had brought him here. 4 days ago, he had been looking at blood samples in his lab. Now he was standing in an alien palace, having just made history by touching an alien queen. Your Majesty, Jacob said, I just did what any doctor would do. I tried to help someone who was sick. Perhaps, the Queen replied. But not every doctor would have risked breaking our most sacred laws to do it. That took courage that goes beyond medical training. Ambassador Hayes stepped forward. Your Majesty, this moment will be remembered as the day humans and Kalians became true allies. Yes, Queen Nithara agreed. And it all started when one human doctor was brave enough to touch an alien queen, and the court fell silent not from horror, but from wonder. Jacob looked around the room at all the Kalians who had shaken his hand. Their skin was showing colors he was beginning to understand meant happiness and hope. What happens now, he asked. Queen Nithara smiled again. Now we build something new together. Now we show the galaxy that different species can work together to heal instead of hurt. Now we prove that the best medicine is not just about fixing bodies, but about fixing the fear and hatred that keeps people apart. As Jacob prepared to begin his new life as the first human medical advisor to an alien ruler, he realized that the moment when he had touched Queen Nithara's crown had changed. More than just her health. It had changed the future of both their species.